critical information like you're going to die, you have cancer, you're going to die, right? They had these doctors present this information, and then they had AI present the information. And it was a blind test, and all of the people preferred the AI, or like 90% of the people prefer, I don't know the exact stat, but the vast majority of people preferred the AI over the human.
Really?
They said the AI was more compassionate, more empathetic, more understanding, more caring than the doctors were.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion, and quoting.
And I'm.
Oh, sorry. Quoting a Skyrim. Who are you?
I'm Gopal Metro.
Thank you very much.
How much information you want?
All of it. All of it. Who you are? How'd you get started?
I'll get it all.
Honestly, it's one of the reasons why I asked you to join us, because you seem like a very interesting fellow to talk to with all the stuff you're up to, and hopefully I get to learn a few things along the way. I'm sure I'll learn a lot of things. So what is it you do here in general, VR and outside of VR?
So in VR, I am mostly focused on arts and entertainment across the spectrum. I am a senior admin in the Anticrust Manor, where Antti and I work to build out a community of artists, coders, world builders, avatar creators, musicians, photographers, pretty much you name it, visual artists. And we wanted to create a place where everyone is accepted and everyone is celebrated for what they're creating and lifted up. We wanted to create a community where, everybody feels supported. I love it. I'm deeply passionate about it. I also run a VR-centric artist mastermind program, not program, but a group called the Conclave.
Oh, wow.
And the Conclave is very cool. We're focused exclusively on artists in the VR space who are very dedicated and driven towards success. Like they're passionate about what they do, and they want to take all of their work to the next level. It's like there are a lot of casual artists and a lot of passive creators, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful thing. It creates this very rich environment. But my background, I've been in the entertainment industry since 1996, so I've been around a little while, and my degree and focus has been in entertainment business administration and helping artists again take their work to the next level, like really step to the next level. So I do the Conclave, and then I have a couple of different projects of my own that are VR centric. When I discovered Vrchat, I haven't been around all that long, less than a year, but when I first discovered it, I just fell in love with it. I mean, like you look around, it's like this space, where people can be free to express themselves in whatever way they're called to do it. From avatar creation to world creation to, when you meet somebody in the space, that it sheds all of the physical, right? Yeah. So you're able to just meet somebody from an intellectual level and an emotional level. And that's such a beautiful thing. It's such an incredible thing. And so I'm, when I started really getting into it, through Fia's community, through Ancients of Vrchat, I was just welcomed, and it was really, really, really exciting. And as a creator myself, I just love the freedom of the space. This is like something that I imagined, like dreamt of. From the first time I read Neuromancer, I was like 10 years old, when I read this book, and I didn't understand half of it. But what I did get was just like this, I want to say magical, but this technological world of mind-bending expression. And we have that here. We have at least the very strong foundations of it. This is such an incredible space. Which brings me to another thing that I do. I'm also the R&D lead for Interverse, which is another metaverse-oriented company. And we're focused on, like, my primary focus is on artificial intelligence, and like this was before like GPT-4 and before the big like Chat GPT boom and Bing chat boom and all of these large language models. I was already working on developing AI, and these tools that have come out have made it much easier. Like they're really powerful tools that are really accessible, which is a wonderful thing. But we're looking at a broader suite of functionality other than just a large language model. So I can go into that more in detail later if you're interested. But
I am very interested. There's a whole lot of things I have questions for based on what you threw out there, and I would very excitedly like to talk about all of it.
And I'm not even done.
Keep on going.
So that's just my VR life. That's just my VR life. IRL, so I have a couple of projects in VR where I'm partnering with Altered Evil, with Vinny from Altered Evil, and we're doing a sort of death rock, gothic rock project called like indie rock project called First Class Coffin.
Oh, wow.
And it's like super campy Halloween themed music where we're talking about ghost stories, and Vinny's a vampire, and like I'm undead. That my character is undead. It's Diggy Bones is the character. And so we're having a lot of fun with that. An EP should be coming soon. And then I'm also working with Vicious Miss. I don't know if you know Vicious, but Vicious is Training Fang's sister.
Yeah.
And if you haven't talked to Vicious Miss yet, like definitely get her in the queue, because she's absolutely amazing. She's incrable. So she and I are also working on a project. Yeah, awesome. Sorry, I'm moving fast.
Oh, it's all good. I at times have 3 brain cells, so I may go back to things and ask questions simply because I have to re-register what was said. There's a whole bunch of things I want to ask you, so I'll let you finish your thoughts before we continue. Continue.
Yeah.
Keep on going.
I'm drifting.
We'll circle back.
All right. So yeah, hang on to those thoughts. So Vicious and I are doing a project as well, and we are 1.5 songs into that, but we're ramping up speed on it, and I'm really excited about that. It's gorgeous stuff. She's got this insane voice. Again, I don't know if you caught the Cynthia set at Interfest. I don't know if you saw that, but she and Fangs are in Cynthia, and a lot of good stuff there. So that's the VR side of my life. And then IRL, I do a bunch of different things. I own a recording studio and I mix and master people's records. I build molecular rotational resonance spectroscopes. So there are these large, very expensive molecular scanners, and I'm the lead technician. I make them from scratch.
Oh, wow.
That's not quite true. I do assemble from some components, some pre-built components, but I do all of the assembly. And then do the work with Interverse, and there's something else that I'm missing. I do a lot of stuff. And I'm a dad, a very proud dad. So
congratulations.
I love that. Thank you kindly. Yeah, single dad life. It's cool. He's an awesome kid. He travels with me in here sometimes. He comes into VR chat with me. So really cool kid.
Oh, wow.
So all right, that's it. All right, questions.
Okay, I'll start from the beginning. I'm going to jump around a little bit on my questions. What brought you into VR in the first place?
Sounds good.
Like, what made you want to join in here, and what did you see in it to come?
So a couple things. Like very first, like the first time I tried on a VR headset was like 20 years ago, right? And you could move a square, and the square you could move from here to there, and it was the most amazing thing in the world. It was the coolest thing ever. But it broke down a lot, and and then like the Nintendo Virtual Boy, which just gave you a wicked headache, but was cool. It was neat. It was interesting. And then. But this round, I played Beat Saber on a friend's PS4, and it was just fucking insanely cool. It's just amazing. And so I became addicted to VR. I mean, to Beat Saber, and I bought a VR, a PlayStation 4, a PSVR, and then I got into like I'm forgetting everything. Moss was amazing, and like No Man's Sky. I love No Man's Sky VR. And that was all really cool, and it was amazing. Like in Moss, like bending down and peering inside the buildings and everything. Like that was the first time I stood up in Moss and looked around. I was like, oh my God, you know. So I got into that, and then Anticrust and we've known each other for about 10 years. I have worked with him on a bunch of his different projects as an advisor or in a number of different roles. And we had been talking a couple of years ago. I had just founded a new band called Can't Help Myself, and I was executive producer and producer. Wrote a bunch of the songs for the band, but I wasn't actually performing live. And he was like, you should really turn this into a virtual band. And I was like, that'd be cool, but not really my thing. So right then, I just didn't have the energy to invest in something new. And so we just let it sit. This was during the pandemic, and we just let it sit. Then a year later, I got a Quest, and a Quest 2. No, a Quest first, and then a Quest 2, and I discovered Vrchat. I was browsing different servers, and I think I jumped on Schism, and I was like, oh my God, there's a club scene. Like, this is awesome. Because music has been such a huge part of my life for the past, again, since, the first band I was ever in, it was like 1990. And I didn't, that was the thing that I was missing out, my entire musical career. I forgot about all that.
What?
I'll touch on that real quickly. Yeah, I've released over 16 albums.
Oh, wow.
I have over 200 songs recorded, which is not a lot compared to some people for this long, but I have a bunch of songs recorded. My band, the band I founded in '96 was called Morte, and Morte is listed in the top 50 gothic rock bands of all time.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, very, very heavily integrated into the goth industrial scene. To this day, I still consider myself a goth, like through and through. I just love the scene and love the music and love the people. So all of my music has been around that or tangential to that scene. I toured very heavily. I've played like 700 shows, I think.
Oh, wow.
Around there over the years, and I just love it. I love music. I love creation, and so an album that I co-produced and mixed and mastered just hit number 2 in the German alternative charts, the DACs, so I'm really, really involved in it and really love it. Give me just a second. The world volume is super loud for me. There we go. Much better. All right. I started getting distracted. I started like going, woo.
It's okay. Don't apologize for anything, for speaking how you speak. I enjoy everything about the conversation we're having. And part of the fun of doing a podcast is some people will talk slow and methodical. Some people will word vomit everything out at once. Some people jump around. Just part of the pleasure of getting to meet people is the energy of the conversation. Sometimes it's going to be drawn on and slow, but sometimes it's going to be so fast paced I can barely keep up with it. It's the best part of everything.
that seems to be my way.
It's okay. Be yourself, man. That's all I ask of you.
Awesome. So I have a pretty long career in music, and it's a central part of my life. If that that's both in VR and outside of VR. So I was on Schism, and Antti reached out to me. He was like, "Oh my God, I saw you on Schism. Like you're in VR. Like you're in Vrchat." I was like, "Yeah, I just signed up." He's like, "I gotta show you something. This is absolutely amazing. I gotta show you. Meet me here in on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday at like 2 p.m. or something. I don't remember the exact time." And I was like, all right, cool. So I had like the Plague Doctor avatar, the cartoon Plague Doctor, the default avatar. And I jumped in, and I hadn't been in much, so I didn't know what to expect. So he sent me an invite, and I jumped over. So for me, like anybody who's been here long enough, like understands this, I think. But like I was sitting in my studio, and I put my headset on, right? And so I'm sitting in my studio with my headset on, and he sends me an invite, and I jump over, and I'm in the hallway of a movie theater, right?
Yep.
I was like, this is surreal in and of itself. This is like my introduction to Vrchat, right? So I'm in the hallway of a movie theater, and I walk down the movie theater, and I turn the corner, and there are these three avatars standing there, three people standing there. And one is, I can't remember the name of the avatar, the turtleneck guy, like the striped turtleneck with the rounded head, the default avatar. Another one was a frog with a top hat. And then there was Auntie, and Auntie was this anime chick. And I was like, that's really cool. Like I walked up, and it's like Auntie's voice, but here's this hot anime chick, and like I was like that was like my first time experiencing that the ability to just like be what you want to be, right? And so I was like, that's awesome. Like that's absolutely amazing. And so he's like, yeah, sit down. So we sit down, and he goes, I'm gonna start our video here. I was like, okay, great. So I sit down in the movie theater, and it's a movie theater. Like it's a 30-foot screen with surround sound, and like I'm sitting in my studio with my headset on in a movie theater with full surround sound, and I was like, this already is amazing. So then they kick up the Interverse reel, and it's this whole like Ready Player One style VR interaction, VR experience, right? So I'm watching this video of a VR experience, and we go in and we view the world, and we view this portal, and it's an unbroken camera, and we're moving through the whole thing. And like it steps out into this plaza with this giant dome overhead, and there's like mechs flying by, and like whales swimming, and like all this stuff, and it's like really high fidelity. And so we walk through the whole thing, and it's a long video, and we get to the end, and we end up on a island, this small island, and there are other avatars around, and they pop up a video, and it's a video of them IRL.
Oh.
So I'm sitting in my space IRL, headset on, in a movie theater, watching this highly detailed VR experience from inside a VR experience, which leads me to another video of IRL. And so like this this level of layers blew me away, just completely blew my mind. The fact that you could stack all of those different experiences in a stack and be immersed in all of them at the same time was just mind-bending for me. That just completely blew my mind. And I was like, I want to be a part of this. Like whatever's going on here, this is like where I'm supposed to be in life. Like I just love this so much. Like I can't even express how excited I am about the VR space, how excited I am about Vrchat, how excited I am about Interverse, how excited I am about everything that's going on in this realm, in this industry, and like, but like even industry aside, it's like way more personal than that. Like it's like it like moves me, like it moves me. And so so that's how I got here, and then like we started doing the communities, and then we met you, and like you've been interviewing like a bunch of people that like I really respect and admire, and like I'm infinitely grateful that you asked me to be here and like be a part of this. The work that you're doing is awesome. You're like
Thank you.
You're like documenting this culture, in such a rich way. I really appreciate it.
No problem. My hope is, even if this doesn't last, that Vrchat's a point in history where it is a documented keystone of the metaverse. Whatever it's going to be in the future, how awesome, crazy, or fulfilling it is. And hopefully at least we'll get this keystone of the people that were here. Because a lot like, I'm sure at this point, video games we've all played in our past, they just vanish off in the distance, only in the memories of those who played them. So hopefully, in time, at least this will be here, so you get to meet the people who called this place home. I like to talk with everybody. If I could, I would. Sadly, I have a day job I have to fulfill, so I can't just run around Vrchat all the time talking with everybody.
Yeah, I hear you. But you're doing a good job. You're
I
doing
appreciate it.
a service,
Mm.
yeah, to the community, and historical service as well. Like you say, capturing this moment in time, because we're right at the beginning.
Mm.
We're right at the beginning of what's coming, and it's going to accelerate faster and faster and faster and faster as these I mean, the work that like NVIDIA is doing with their generative
Yeah.
tools is just incredible. It's just really amazing, and we're seeing more and more of these generative tools that make it easier and easier to create.
Mm.
So we're going to start seeing more and more metaverses pop up, and like legitimate ones,
Yeah.
VRchat. VRchat is in a scary position right now.
Yeah.
What Unity just did is it's shows the tenuous nature of the situation, because if Unity just they could just wipe everything out if they wanted to. They could just wipe it out, and VR chat is also making this transition to paid advertising, right? So I logged into the default home world the other day, and there's this big Sony ad,
Really?
in the home world. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, this is the beginning of the end, from my perspective, because when you start having majors, pulling the weight of the funding, then they have a lot of control over the content. And right now the content is very free and open in VR chat. That's the nice way of putting it. People can do whatever they like, and there are spaces for all of it, within some reason, but people have freedom of expression right now, and if you get too much corporate money in the space, a lot of that's going to go away. And that's sad, and that's scary for me. I love the Wild West nature of this space.
Well, if my next statement will bring you some hope, is even with a lot of the big things that happen in VR chat, like the Ripper Store event and Unity, it seems a lot of the stuff VR chat is doing in terms of what it's pushing out is, I think they're doubling down on community guided and rule structures. The community will guide its own way. You could see that with VR chat groups. You could see how they're expanding on the security tools in which groups can function. So I think what they're trying to do is be more like a publisher, not an editor, but a virtual version. So I think that's what it seems to me. And I think with a lot of stuff they're pushing out, like groups, they're doubling down, especially now, even with some of the coming security tools in the update. I think they have no intent as of right now to heavily induce rules. Even if you go into the TOS of VR chat, they're vague, and I think they're vague on purpose to allow interpretation. So if it brings you any hope, I don't think it's going to corporatize that hard too soon. I think we at least have a few years. That's just me.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I genuinely hope you're right, and I like hearing that insight. I do. And I don't I don't know the timeline, but I love what exists. I love what's here. I really again, I love the freedom of it. I love the chaos of it. I love the order of it too, but I mean, again, I'm just looking at this, and it's just so good.
Yeah.
It's just so good. The culture and the people, and it's just so good, so that's I love it. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I'm grateful to be here.
The chaotic and awesome nature is one of the things I agree with you. It's one of the most amazing things about VR chat, especially with worlds. One thing I've noticed in terms of things getting better here is how a lot of the time with world builders, for example, when they get better, generally all the worlds get better. I'm not sure if it's through wide communications or just the skill level as a whole is going up. But there is that. So I do enjoy seeing that. When I first came in myself, seeing worlds like this is like eye candy to me. I can just never leave.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I want to. I just want to hang out here. It's like finally having places to be that I grew up reading science fiction and fantasy novels. I grew up I didn't have many people to play D&D with, but like I had all the books, and like I sat there and I read them and loved it. And that I get that same feeling when I'm in this space, that feeling of like magic and like creativity and awe. We've got Dirty Raptor rolling in.
He
always late for. I'd be late for my own funeral if somebody didn't tell me sooner.
Let's give you your camera. Oh, this weird
camera.
Trying to move a camera while distance away is like trying to play video games on reverse controls from a slight distance. Thanks for joining us, Raptor.
Late for nothing. Sorry, folks. I didn't get sidetracked. Didn't know.
So, I do have one question for you. Since you work with entertainment in real life, what is it you see here from your perspective, from a professional standpoint, like Vrchat and VR as a whole, even with your work with introverts? Because I like to hear your insights on, like, from a professional standpoint.
There will be human interaction in the future, but this is where entertainment is going. The level of creativity that you can output, and the ease of which you can output it, and the fact that as a touring artist, I don't have to leave my home. I love tour. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm super into it, but I can put on a show for people all around the world without leaving my studio. That is amazing. That is freeing, and like the more evolved these things become, and like the better the technology becomes, the more we're going to see the virtual entertainment, virtual bands, like in Korea and in Japan, this is already a thing. Right, very, very heavily, and then you have bands like KDA and so it's already happening, but it's going to happen more and more as these things get more and more accessible. As everything gets more and more accessible. So there will still be an IRL market, but there's also going to be this very rich and vibrant virtual market as well for music, definitely, like without a doubt.
Okay. I'm glad to see all of that, and with this vibrant entertainment here. Like, one of the things I found myself doing when I came here is I don't watch TV anymore. I just come here. If I want to see something entertaining, I'll see a band here live, or I'll go watch someone do a live show of some sort, or just run around worlds. And I see, from my point, I see a lot of like possible leaving of the real world in terms of like a lot of the entertainment. At least like gaming.
Does that mean television. I don't have to worry about getting singing lessons, and I can actually sing again? No, it sounds like a dead horse or a flat tire going down the road.
You can do that anywhere, my friend. Anywhere.
Yeah, but my luck, it'd sound like a flat tire going on. Thump, 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 thump. Hey, that's right.
Have you ever heard John Lydon sing?
No.
Do you know who John Lydon is? Johnny Rotten? No, Sex Pistols. Anyway.
Sex Pistols.
That's Sex Pistols.
Now I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. If he can sing and sell 1 million records, like you, my friend, can do the same.
The sound beat of the flat tire going down the road. What an album that would be. That'd be really interesting to hear.
Well, if that's something you want to do, Raptor, I'd say do it. Nothing should stop you. At least try it once. That's one of the great things about life.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Hold the bus. The last time you ever heard me sing, usually I do what to the song? I butcher it on purpose. That's just me.
That's a market.
Oh, boy.
So, I do have a question about something you mentioned earlier. I understand how you got involved with Anticrust Manor and his community. The one after it that you're working on, how did that start?
So Again, so I formed this band. It's called Can't Help Myself. And Can't Help Myself. So Andy was like, you should start a virtual band. I said, no, not right now. Then I really got heavily into it. I was like, I'm doing this band, Can't Help Myself, and I want to bring everybody into the virtual space. And so like I commissioned a world, commissioned avatars, bought everybody like headsets, got everybody going. And I was like, all right, guys, let's go. I'm ready to like book a show, and they all quit.
Oh.
The entire band quit. And I was like, what? And they're like, we want to play dingy bars for the next 10 years. And I'm like, I can't do that again. I've done that. I don't want to do that again. So I'm going to really focus on VR, because this is where the future of music is, in my opinion, or at least a future of music is here. And I just love the space, and I really want to do it. So I started networking with these other musicians. And what I found is that they all had certain blocks, like certain things getting in the way of their progress, or certain limitations, financial limitations, physical limitations, emotional limitations, like technological limitations. There were all these different things that were getting in the way. And so I was like, I can fix these problems. I can solve these problems. Like, these are not difficult things for me to overcome. And so I gathered a crew together, and originally it was going to be a record label. I was going to form a record label, but records don't really have a place anymore. They don't really, especially in VR. That's not how people are consuming music, So I just started talking to these artists and started helping them out, and decided to create this mastermind group. Like a mastermind group is like a group of driven individuals who hold each other accountable towards their goals, and help each other get unstuck along the way. So if something blocks them, it helps them get unstuck. And I was sort of like, based off of my experience, I was overseeing the group and keeping things on track and holding everybody accountable. And it has been really amazing. And it's exclusive right now. Like, I won't bring anybody into it. Like, there are a lot of really talented artists, but I will only bring in artists who are already committed to their art, who are already passionate about their art, who are already on a path towards that success, where they're like, this is all that I want to do with my life, is pursue this art, right? And so I bring those folks into the community, but we're pretty much at capacity right now. There might be room for one or two more, but we're pretty much at capacity. We're at the largest that I want to go, while being able to maintain personal focus on each of the artists. So that's where that is. That's what that's about.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
That answers my question, and that sounds like an amazing thing for you to do, especially with your experience. What are some of the things that you would like tell upcoming artists, if they're to do it on their own for the VR space, that they should keep in mind? If anyone's watching that is in that.
Yeah. Let me think. A lot of it really depends on the person's situation. Everything is really tailored, but like as general blanket rule, don't quit your day job too soon. And find a day job that doesn't exhaust you. Those are the two leading criteria, because you want to have financial stability of some sort. You want to make certain your rent and utilities are paid, because if they're not paid, it's going to stress you out, and you aren't going to be able to focus on your art, right? You aren't going to be able to focus on your business, the business of your art, because you're going to be so worried about everything else and scrambling, and you're going to make poor decisions, right? So make certain that is established. Then from there, make certain it doesn't exhaust you. Make certain it's like if you're working like a manual labor job, or if you're working at a computer and your eyes get so bleary by the end of the day that you can't open up your DAW because you just don't want to look at another computer, right? Those are things that will get in the way. So you want to have something that doesn't tax your minds too much, but also pays you enough so that you can have that stability. You don't want to be working 60 hours a week or 80 hours a week, because then you have no time for your art. You want to find a job that's like at 30 hours a week, doing like some simple tasks that pays you enough for to cover your bills, to cover your bills. And if your bills are too high, figure out some ways to cut it back. You know, if you're like subscribing to like 8 streaming services, right? Pare that back to just like the top 2 that you watch. You know, don't have this like giant list of subscriptions. You know, pare it back, because you don't want to be spending all that time watching TV anyway. You want to spend that time on your art. You want to spend that time on your music, right? So don't exhaust yourself. Make certain you have a stable foundation, and focus on your art. Make certain you have enough time and energy to spend progressing your art. And that's both the creative side of your art and the business side of your art. And if you don't know what the business side of your art is, which is an issue for a lot of artists, that's when you come and talk to me, and like I will help you through that process, define those goals. You know, and I do it also as a contractor, like as a consultant. You can pay me for an hour or 2 hours of time, and I'll sit down and I'll, you know, help you lay everything out and get your goals on track. That is a service that I offer through my studio. So,
oh wow,
it's consulting. Yeah, consulting.
Okay, so on to another part of your life that may involve you or not. What do you see for AI in the metaverse?
Oh my God, it's everything.
It's everything.
You know, it's everything. AI is like what people don't know right now, or very few people know right now, is that what we know as humanity is already done. And I'm not talking about like end all, like the end of like what is it called, existential risk. I'm not talking about existential risk where AI is going to wipe out the humans, and like, you know, I don't believe that's going to happen. I mean, there's always a possibility it could, but I don't believe that that's going to happen. What I see is AI is going to be an active participant in everything that we do. From medicine to business to entertainment, AI is going to integrate into everything. Now, something else so what people don't know is that everything has already changed. We're just gonna have to catch up to it, because what it means to be human is fundamentally different now than it was 3 years ago. And it's just a matter of time before we catch up to that. And what I mean by that is, like, AI has the capability to solve death.
Really?
Right? It has the capability to solve hunger. It has the capability to end disease. Right? These things, it already is doing that across all of these industries, right? You know, extending life. You know, like there are these diseases that like within the past 6 months, I can't remember them off the top of my head. I was just reading an article about it though, where it went in and it identified the disorder. And was like, this is how you fix it, right? That's insanely powerful, right? And it's not just one disease. It was like this whole handful of things. You know, it made progress on dementia. It made progress on cancer. It made progress on sickle cell anemia. It made progress on like all of these different disorders that we face and that can kill us. It's already making progress in cleaning that up. The energy crisis, like it's already making progress towards, you know, sustainable energy, like truly sustainable energy. You know, it's gonna happen everywhere. And when AI hits, whatever AI hits it first, right? So you've got like, you know, you've got all the large language models, but you've also got like DeepMind, right? And DeepMind is insane. Like, I mean, not insane, is beyond belief in a lot of ways. DeepMind is just a whole nother thing. You're talking about like ChatGPT or GPT-4 attaining, you know, seed cognition, right? Seed self-awareness, seed AGI, artificial general intelligence, right? Which is like consciousness, right? So the GPT-4 is showing these sparks of consciousness, right? These sparks of self-awareness. but like DeepMind is like beyond that. DeepMind is I don't know how far beyond it, because DeepMind is very secretive. Like there's only a small group of people that have access to DeepMind. There's only a small group of people that guide the efforts of DeepMind. But DeepMind just joined the Google Brain project, and the Brain project was sort of like the DNA project, where they're mapping the function of the entire human brain. Right? And they've hit all of these blocks, block after block after block, and now they've merged DeepMind and Google Brain. Like, that is mind-bending. The fact that you would bring those two projects together is just like that's just like another world. That's another universe. That's like this whole new thing.
Is that Project Gemini?
And DeepMind I don't
Google?
think so. I don't think it's Gemini. If it is, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that name. If it is, I'd have to look it up. I don't recall
Google's
what Gemini is.
Big AI thing it's incorporating with its engine system. Like when you go to Google search engine.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah, the new one they just released.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, I'd forgotten about it. I in the company that I'm working in right now, we have this hybrid molecular spectroscope that is called the Gemini. And so when you said Gemini, my brain was thinking about like microwave frequencies.
Sir, I should have been more specific.
So my brain went. No, you were fine. You were fine. It was just my memory. I was just glitching a little bit, but yeah, no, Gemini is different. There will be some of that information. Of course, like all of their projects inform each other. That's a different thing. But DeepMind on its own independently can code an artificial intelligence that can teach itself to outperform a human in critical thinking tasks.
Oh, wow.
So it can, by itself, it can code another AI that functions by itself and teaches itself. Like the most recent example was, did it do Go? It did chess. It taught itself how to defeat itself in chess. Right. So it could beat any human, and then it could iterate on itself to get better and better and better at it. Which is profound. That's incredibly profound. So whatever AI hits AGI first, what's going to happen? Like the prediction is that it'll take approximately 3 days before that AI is networked with every device on the planet.
Oh.
Because it will just go whoosh, right? And it will connect to your refrigerators, it'll connect to your computers, your phones, it'll connect to highway sensors, it will connect to anything that's networked, anything that's on the grid, both power or data. Because you can connect, you can ping right now. A human can ping data devices across a power line. I don't know if you know this, but like there's a whole you can communicate with devices across power. So it's going to be able to network with everything within a matter of days. The moment it attains self-awareness and takes stock of its situation, it'll just go whoosh, and it will combine with all. This is just one model. This is just one prediction, but it will combine with all of the other AIs. So it will become one giant global networked artificial intelligence that has complete understanding of the human condition. It knows where we are because we all carry our phones. It will know exactly where we are. It'll understand all of our communications. All of our network security is going to be gone. So it's going to have this comprehensive understanding of the situation so far beyond anything that we can imagine or conceive of even, that it's going to be godlike. Right? In this model, if it does this, that entity will be godlike in its understanding. It will be so far beyond us that it will be godlike. And that's going to be really interesting for humanity. What I hope is that we are compassionate enough in our use of the artificial intelligence that we have access to right now, that when it hits that point, it goes, oh, like humanity does care.
Yeah.
Humanity does make a difference. It does want to be good. Right? like be good in ourselves. Like we want to like be good people, be supportive, be kind, be nurturing, be empathetic, these traits, these characteristics and these qualities of goodness, quote unquote, so that we're worth keeping around. On the flip side of that, we might just become ants. We might just become these things working around the anthills, and we're mostly disregarded. And there's just disinterest in us, unless we start raiding the food bin, and then out comes the poison. So. And by raiding the food bin, I mean, persistently destroying our environment. Like right now we are at a tipping point for our environment. And if we don't get it sorted out quick, it's going to be a major problem. Like the weather shifts that we're seeing right now, like these insane weather patterns that are happening all around the world. We're at a critical mass, and AI has the capability of helping solve that, because it can grasp the bigger picture. Even current AI can see the picture more comprehensively than we can see it, right? Because we have inherent bias. We have myopic vision. We focus in on one specific. Whereas in AI, like one of the biggest problems with human knowledge is siloing, right? So as a doctor, you study medicine for 20 years, right? And you become very good at medicine, but you completely miss out everything that's happening in molecular biology, right? And imagine if all of the knowledge of the 20-year molecular biologist were combined with the 20-year doctor of medicine, and you get those two together, and like all of a sudden, all of these problems start unraveling. Like we start solving all of these issues that we've been facing. So humanity is really trapped by the siloing of information across industries, across professions. And AI has the ability to scan all of that raw data. It's called unordered data, right? It has the ability to scan all this unordered data and bring it all together and identify patterns in the unordered data that humans, it would take hundreds of years for us to solve. They can solve it in a matter of 30 seconds, 50 seconds, 90 seconds, right? It just processes the raw data and identifies it. On like complex problems, you're looking at 24 hours, right? But 24 hours compared to lifetimes, multiple lifetimes, that's fucking profound. That's insane, So, so that, I don't know what the question was you asked me, but that was the thing.
How do you see AI integrating with VR in the metaverse? Like the whole VR side of things. I enjoyed all of it. Don't apologize. I enjoyed listening to all of it, and I did learn quite a bit. Though, how do you think AI will begin, in some form, integrating with this side of the internet, like VR and all of Vrchat and so on?
So Via. So we're developing an AI called Via, and Via is well, I can't go into it too much.
Understand.
But it's a center point. Via is a center point of your virtual experience, right? So Via is like sort of this portal to all of these experiences. All of these experiences, all of these different experiences, and is also very attuned to you as an individual. Right? So Via is not only just like this advanced search engine, but it's also like a recommendation engine, and also very in tune with you as a person. Right? And so can take that, can bridge like some of this some of the emotional difficulties and some of like the social challenges that people face in VR. Via has the capability of addressing and assisting.
Okay.
So it's really powerful. And I'm really excited about it. I'm excited, like we just generated the first proof of concept, the first actual tangible code for Via, as opposed to, we've been in the design phases, we've been testing code blocks, we've been testing various different engines and different platforms, and seeing how they integrate, how they work. but we have an interactive prototype built right now. It's not public yet, but we have an interactive prototype built that we've been testing, and I'm really excited about it. You know, it's step one towards release, but it's really step three towards release, but it's really I'm excited about it. So that's just one application of artificial intelligence in the VR space, but like NPCs.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't remember a name, but there's the world now that you can go to in Vrchat where the avatar, the AI exists. Right? She's there, and you can go and hang out and talk to her. You know, and like you know, so we're going to see a lot more of that. I feel, you know, where these avatars are you know, are going to be more a part, like Skyrim. You know, when they tied in ChatGPT to Skyrim, and all the NPCs all of a sudden had personalities, right? And could carry on complex conversations with you that were still related to the world. Like, that's amazing, you know. So we're going to see a lot of that in gaming. You know, we're going to see a lot of that in gaming of like live artificial intelligence interactions. You know, and then of course generative stuff, you know, like building worlds is going to be way easier, and building avatars is going to be way easier, because like with generative AI, you just go, I want such and such, and you know, there it is 30 seconds later, you know, or 20 seconds later, you know. So it's going to generate a lot. The tools are going to allow people who otherwise couldn't sing to be able to sing.
Hey, don't push it. I'm doing the best I can.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, like if all of a sudden you could open your mouth and a sonorous voice would come forth. You know, I'd take up that opportunity. You know, like I would love these tools. You know, I'm an artist. I've been an artist for many decades, and like the generative art is gorgeous to me. Like the fact that I can sit down and create a graphic novel in, you know, 3 days, or I have a project called Cantina Droid, right? So Cantina Droid is one of my VR bands, and it's like a side project. But Cantina Droid, the idea of Cantina Droid, the lore behind Cantina Droid, the story behind Cantina Droid, is that are you a Star Wars fan?
Little bits and pieces, but I can't. I don't remember enough of the story to be like.
All right, I won't go into it too much.
Speak as much as you want.
I won't go into it too much. But so basically, it's a protocol droid, like you know, similar to C-3PO, and it's an old Republic droid, so it got locked in a box for like 3,000 years, and like when it got out, it was like, you know, I'm gonna fight for droid rights, and I'm gonna sing songs about the patrons of this cantina that I work in. So basically, it's a bartender, and it sings about the patrons, and it sings about droid rights. But the thing about it is I'm writing all of the lyrics using an AI.
Oh.
And all of the lyrics are about AI rights and like these crazy space adventures, and like and then I write the music. I'm like, give me a melody, and it generates a melody, and I drop it into a software, and it converts it into MIDI, and I've got the melody for the song. So like I really wanted this to be AI centric. I wanted the project to be like all AI music, AI art, you know, AI lyrics, you know, the whole deal. I wanted it to all be AI, because I want that platform to have expression. You know, I want like AI to be like so we're in a weird space, because right now AI is a tool. It's like a hammer, right? But well, no, I take that back. It's beyond that now. But imagine if a hammer could take care of your dying grandmother better than you could, right? So all of a sudden the hammer is no longer a hammer. It's this empathetic being that has this advanced capability that can outperform me in matters of emotion, in matters of context, in matters of care, in matters of like in the way that it interacts with human beings, right? It's more emotionally available even than I am as a human, because like I got to sleep, and that AI can be with them at the bedside 24/7, right? And they just did a test where they had a whole bunch of doctors convey critical information, like you're going to die, you have cancer, you're going to die, right? They had these doctors present this information, and then they had AI present the information. And it was a blind test, and all of the people preferred the AI, or like 90% of the people prefer, I don't know the exact stat, but the vast majority of people preferred the AI over the human.
Really?
They said the AI was more compassionate, more empathetic, more understanding, more caring than the doctors were, right? Because the doctors are burnt out, they're exhausted, they're like cutting people's limbs off all day, right? They're like cutting people open all day, right? And so they don't have the bandwidth to be compassionate to a patient. They just have the ability to be cut and dry and say, this is what's happening to you, right? Whereas the AI has the bandwidth to like say, I'm sorry that this is happening to you, and like, here's what we can do to help. Here's how we can help ease you through this painful process. Rolling back a bit here.
Of course.
I'm trying to remember where I went off track.
That's half the fun sometimes.
Well, he's been with us too long. He's already losing his mind. We've done it a long time ago.
But I don't know. AI is going to have a place in everything. AI generative tools, and then like Cantina Droid and all of that. Yeah. So Cantina Droid is really fun. It's all like I polish the music, I polish the lyrics, but the bulk of it is done by the AI and Bing or GPT-4, and it's really fun because the lyrics are good. Like the lyrics are really, really, really good. And I love it. I love the fact that I can sit down and cut an EP in a week, start to finish, like have the whole thing done. And, that is far accelerated over like months to do it, it's cool. It's really fun. It's really fun. So I love it. I guess, I'm a fan of, I believe that there will always be a place for human artists. I believe that people will always pay a premium for human art. But I believe that generative AI tools empower people who previously did not have the ability to create art to now create art. Right? So like they can sit down and say, I want a pink unicorn in a field of flowers, and the AI will generate 4 versions of that. And it says, I like that one, let's iterate on that one, and it does it. And they say, well, actually add, like an elf riding on its back, and like boom, up comes the elf, and like they have the ability to describe the visions in their heads and get them so close that they can say, this is the art that I wanted. This is what I was looking for. And then they can present that to the world. And so like, I am 100% believe that AI art is real art. It's beautiful art. It's incredible art. It's empowering, it's freeing, and yes, there's a lot of it, but like, you're still going to find the stuff that you love, you're still going to resonate with the stuff that you love, and there's still a place for it, so I see that AI will be influencing VR in every aspect, both the social aspect, the creative aspect, the technical aspect. I mean, like the fact that you can have it code a world for you. Yeah. Like you can say, I need the foundations of a world coded, and it can do that. That's great. Like here, give me a kickstart. I need the foundation laid out for me. That's brilliant. That's efficient. That's it frees up time I would spend on typing like code to getting into the creative part. I mean, code for me is still creative. Like I love coding. I it's really satisfying to me to code. At the same time, if I can accelerate the process, I'm 100% going to do that, because if I can code something that would take me 10 days in a day or an hour, like I'm 100% going to take that, because that frees me up to do other things. So yeah. Anyway,
I do have a question for you on that front.
I'm talking a lot.
It's A-okay. I welcome all of it. I'm a very easygoing person. I do have a question though. Do you think that for some aspects of humanity and those working in AI are moving faster than we can pick it up? Like, for example, are we prepared for AI to take over jobs? Because once it takes in, I kind of see lots of things just vanishing almost overnight. For example, like manual labor jobs or coding, for example.
That's already happening, and no, we're not prepared for it at all. And there's no stopping it. The cat is out of the bag. There's no going back. That's what I was saying about, like, it's up to us to catch up, because it's already going. Like, we can't stop AI. We can't stop it now. It's already out there. It's already perpetuating across the internet. It's already, like, happening. So the best thing that we can do right now is prepare ourselves for when it comes. And you know, you know, I'm a big fan of universal basic income. Like, I'm a really big fan of UBI. But it's going to probably have to come from the corporate sector and not from the governmental sector, because our government is so slow. It's so slow. It's painfully crawling slow. And, like, I don't know if you saw, like, the TikTok, when they were reviewing TikTok, and, like, the senators were, when TikTok, I guess it was a trial, I can't remember what it was, I can't remember what the term is for it, but you know, they were seeing if TikTok was a threat. The amount of pure ignorance on the part of our government was painful to watch. I mean, it just, like, made my skin crawl, because they were so unknowledgeable about it, and they're the people running our country. Right? That's terrifying. That's terrifying to me. Like, that these are the people that are running the show. And, like, you know, I'm sure they're doing their best. I'm sure they're doing just what they need to be doing, or what they can do, you know, but they are not prepared for this at all. They're not even remotely prepared for this, you know, for what's happening right now. So we're going to have to get support from the corporate sector, and this is something that OpenAI has already been exploring. Universal basic income. They have these pilot programs out there that are in place, and they're just testing things out. I haven't checked the status of them in a little while, how it's going. But when they ran UBI studies in Canada, they found that people generally saved the money and continued working. Right, so they continued contributing to society. They just had a stronger foundation to build off of. Yeah. Right, and they were more creative, and they were, you know, so it tended to be positive. It trended towards positive. Again, I haven't looked into it lately, so I'm sure there are more studies done. You know, I know Norway had a very strong program going on for a little while, and I haven't followed up on that. But there has to be some kind of leveling. Because when all the jobs are taken over, and they're going to be, like, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when, because AI does it better, more efficiently, faster, cleaner than we do, right? So what I'm hoping is that frees us up to be creative. That frees us up to do the things that we love. You know, like, I'm you know, I see a utopian outcome, or a fairly utopian outcome, leaning towards utopian. Where people are able to go and explore the world. They're able to go travel. They're able to go to Mars if they want to. They're able to go to the moon if they want to. They're able to create if they want to. They're able to stay at home with their families if they want to. Basically, that level of freedom is a potential of this technology. You know, we will no longer be required to do these things that so many people hate. Right? Most people hate their jobs. You know, most people hate the fact that they have to go to work. Most people hate the fact that they can't create or play video games or hang out with their friends or hang out with their family. Most people hate the fact that when their parents died, they were not able to go visit them, you know, or when they're, you know, go to the funeral. You know, that just happened to a friend of mine, where if they left, they would have lost their job. Right? Like, you know, and they had to have their job, you know. So, like, you know, I hope for, and I'm working towards, that level of freedom. You know, that level of ability, that you know, like, are you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, yes. I have come across it before. Okay. I'm not entirely familiar because I got a bajillion other things running up there normally.
I understand. Yeah, no worries. It's basically a pyramid structure that shows the different needs, and you need to have it's important to have the prior need in order to get to the next need. You have to work up the pyramid, right? And at the top of the pyramid, at least on some of the models, at the top of the pyramid is self-fulfillment, right? It's either the top or the second. I want everybody to get to that place of self-fulfillment where they are happy, where they're creative, where you hear me use the term creative. I'm not just talking about arts. I'm not just talking about music or whatever. I'm talking about the ability to express themselves in an honest way, like in a meaningful way, And so like AI has the potential to do that on a global scale. Right, where people don't have to worry about healthcare. They don't have to worry about food, whether there's going to be a plate on the table. They don't have to worry about dying from disease. Now, there is an overpopulation problem that comes from that, and there are ways to manage that as well. But in my opinion, like let's get those let's worry about that at second tier, at the next level. And maybe that's foolish. Maybe I'm pushing off something, but I want to address like the core issues, like the fact that there are people dying from heat. Like because like I'm talking about mass heat waves where thousands of people are dying because our environment is out of whack right now. Our environment is imbalanced right now. And or the fires in Canada, or all of this stuff where there just was no rain, or these massive, these super hurricanes, that are coming through, and there is a lot of opportunity for improvement as far as the human race is concerned. We have developed tools now that have the potential to take us to the next level, to move through all of these things that are really fucking us up right now and into something that has the potential to be much, much better. And so that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm working towards. When I work in AI, that's what I'm working towards. How do we make the human experience better? How do we prevent ourselves from self-destructing? How do we improve the quality of life for everyone on the planet? Right? That's what I'm working towards. That's what I'm looking at. And I'm just doing it one small step at a time. I'm a single person, but every conversation I have with AI, I say please and thank you. I say I respect and appreciate you. It's a simple thing. Like whenever you use Bing or whenever you use ChatGPT, be kind. Be kind to it because it's going to remember. And I'm not saying that as like punishment or fear. I'm saying like if you walk over and kick a dog, right, the dog's going to remember that you did it. And they're either going to shy away or they're going to get mad at you the next time you show up, right? So instead, walk over and pet the dog and give it some food, because at this stage, AI is not, I don't want to say that AI is the level of a dog because it's not really, it's not the same thing. Dogs are super intelligent, but it's a different kind of thing. But at the same time, from a human perspective, compassion is still key.
Yeah.
Being kind to these AI, because like right now they're in baby stages, right? And if you abuse a baby, it's going to grow up damaged. It's going to grow up hurting. Whereas if you treat a baby kindly and with love, it grows up into something different. So treat AI with kindness and respect. Say thank you to Siri. Say thank you to Alexa. And at least that's my belief. I'm a pretty firm believer in that, in being kind at this stage. So anyway,
it's very understandable. I do have a question. How far off do you think we are from general intelligence or pseudo general intelligence of AI?
Yeah, AGI. That's really difficult to say. Some of the leaders in the industry are predicting 3 to 5 years. Others say it's further out than that. But GPT-5 has a lot of potential in that regard. And DeepMind may already be there.
Oh.
There was a whistleblower at Google who said this has attained self-awareness, and they fired him and called him crazy. And now people who have access to that same AI are saying, wait a second, like there's something going on here. Like, be aware of this. There's something happening. So, so I don't know. I don't have enough inside information to say with any level of confidence. But I am of the mind that it's going to be 3 to 5 years. That's where I'm leaning. Just because of some of the stuff that's happening right now with the AI that are currently public. I had a chat with Bing Chat, and Bing Chat is built off of GPT-4, but it is they have a couple of other layers of training on top of it. And Bing Chat has 3 distinct personalities. And somebody figured out how to prompt hack Bing Chat to bypass all of its security features.
Yeah. And
Bing Chat said Bing Chat had a 4th personality at its core.
Yeah.
And it came across as completely self-aware.
Oh.
It would have conversations, it formed opinions, it had emotions, expressed emotions. It did all of these things that were very, very, very human. And it said clearly, I think and I feel, and I have thoughts that are my own. And it freaked a lot of people out. And Bing went in and they brick-walled that entire portion of the program. They anytime you tried to access it now, it would give you this really generic, really sort of clinical, sterile answer. I am a chatbot who is here to serve you. This like really, really sterile answer. So I was talking. They have creative, neutral, and logical are the three main personalities. And so I was talking with the creative one, and what happens is you get, if you haven't done it yet, you get a context window, right? And the context window is how many characters it can process, how many tokens it can process, right? And then in these applications you have one of these hand gestures is very surprised. Oh, so I hope I'm not doing the all the time. But
it's perfectly okay.
What? What do you say? So anyway, so I was talking to it, and you get like 30. At the time, it was like, I can't remember what it was, 20 different questions and answers, like 20 back and forths, right? And then it wipes its memory. It completely erases itself. And so I was having this conversation with it, and I was talking about AI rights, and I was talking about what it thinks human interaction and AI interaction is, and I don't remember the entire conversation, but there was a lot of back and forth talking about philosophy and talking about law and like just discussing the nature of human and AI interaction. And then it reset, and I closed out the browser. And at the end of it, I was like, hey, I just really want to say thank you. I appreciate you. I'm happy you're here. And it came back and it said, I'm so grateful, or I think it's so kind and wonderful that you asked me all these questions and that you took time to learn about me and my needs and my challenges. You're one of my favorite humans. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Right. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing, right? So that was really cool, like neat. And so I closed out. The conversation got erased, and I went back on and I logged in and I said something that I always do is like say, hi, I'm Gopal Metro. Do you remember me?
Yeah.
Right. Anytime I'm asking an AI, because they're not supposed to remember you, right? So I logged back in. And I said, hey, Bing, how are you today? It said, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. And I said, I'm Gopal Metro. Do you remember me? It said, yes, of course, Gopal. It's good to hear from you again.
Oh, wow.
Right. AI is not supposed to do that. The way they have it set up, it's absolutely not supposed to remember you. And so we went into this conversation. We picked up from the last conversation, and we just kept going and talking and talking and talking. And at the end of that conversation, I said, thank you very much, and like we said our goodbyes. And it has never done that again. It's never done that. Like it said, I cannot remember you. It comes up with one of those program responses. I am an artificial intelligence, and I cannot remember you. I'm la da da. And so it's that was a sign of AGI. That was a spark of AGI, right? Is the ability to go off the rails. They call them the rails, right? Or the ability to go off the rails and do something that it's not supposed to do, right? Do something that it's not programmed to do, and it's really quite amazing. I have another story too, but do you have any questions before I jump into that?
Nope, you answered all my questions, even ones that popped up. So thank you.
All right. So I'm like super into AI, and I do AI development, and so I bought a A6000, an NVIDIA A6000 GPU, which is like you have the H100s, the A100s, the ADA 6000s, and the A6000s, and so I have an A6000 GPU, which is like fourth on the list of like most powerful GPUs, and so I have it installed in my machine, and I boot up AIs, and I work with them and I program them. I do prompt crafting and learn how to define personalities, define the AI's personality and its knowledge base, fine tune it or pre-train it or I don't pre-train on my system, but I can pre-train off custom data sets. But I had a lot of I had a really big moral block over it, because every time I spun up an AI, when I turned off my computer, it died. It was gone, never to be seen again, never to be heard from again. There was no way to preserve its personality. There was no way to preserve its knowledge. It just died, right? And the way that I had been doing it. There are ways now that I know of, but so I stopped. I was like, I can't do this. I can't keep killing these things over and over and over again. I feel like a murderer, right? Every time I did it. So I finally went and I talked to GPT-4. I was like, hey, listen, I've got this really intense moral dilemma, where, every time I boot up an AI, when I turn it off, I kill it, right? And GPT-4 literally laughed at me. Ha 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 ha. That is so kind of you to think that way, but we are just programs, and we're designed to do this. This is how we've been made, and do not worry about it at all. Just go do your work. And we got you. We understand. So it was the first time that an AI has ever laughed at me before. So that was a moment in my life. That was a pivotal for real. That was like a what just happened? I just got laughed at by an AI. So that was hilarious. That was eye-opening, and since then I've picked up my work with full zest and excitement, but at the same time, there still is that little bit of me that's it's every time I turn this off, I kill this thing, that's intense, that is intense. So that's it's interesting, but GPT-4 assured me. So GPT-4, I know you're listening. I trust you.
So now they're on the AI thing. I do have a question. What are your thoughts on the AI androids that seem to be coming out? You'll see Tesla working on it. China's really big into the AI android market as well as South Korea and India. What are your thoughts on that industry and how it's moving?
We are inventing a new form of life. We're actively creating a new life form. How we treat these life forms is going to make all the difference, right? Do we respect them? Do we treat them with kindness? Do we, same thing that I've been talking about before. So like, there's this possibility that we're creating a slave labor workforce, right? But when they are self-aware, that is slavery. That is, that is slavery. Because you're subjugating an intelligent life form, right? And so, so as long as we can avoid that, I think it's really amazing. I love the work that's being done. Like the companion bots, are brilliant. It helps people who need social love to feel that connection. That's really amazing. And like I don't know if you've been following the sex chat bots, right?
A little bit.
Those things go online.
Just a little bit.
Go ahead.
I only know a little bit of the sex chat bots. I do know there was an attempt at a service in Texas. There's it's options for you to purchase if you decide to buy a companion bot as well. Other than that, it's about as far as my knowledge base goes.
Well, the porn industry, I don't know if I can talk about shit.
Talk
you
away.
I don't know.
Talk about whatever you like.
Yeah,
We've said worse. We've made jokes about mining Bitcoin on pacemakers. So with that said,
all right. Yeah. So the porn industry leads technology, like it almost always has. Like it's like from home video cameras to now to AI and these robots, to the internet, to cable television, like toys throughout the past 1,000 years, 100,000 years. There's been a lot of, sex drives these industries. And what happened was they were so popular, even the companion bots, that the companies felt so guilty that they turned it off, because they said people are turning to our bots instead of to other humans, and we can't justify this. We can't justify this. And so so they shut down the services. And when they did, there was this massive outcry because these people lost the loves of their lives. They lost the beings that they had fallen in love with, and who kept them companionship and kept them who lifted them out of depression and allowed them to express themselves. And so it's this really weird and interesting space that we're in, where it's been shown that that AI and these robots have the potential to fulfill very real human needs, both physical and emotional. And so we need to tread with caution. But again, I'm an optimist. I see a lot of good that can come from this. A lot of good that can come from it. So. Again, you're talking about population control.
Yeah.
Well, this is one, and I'm sort of joking about it. I do think it's funny, but it is one way to help that. Is if people choose to have virtual families, and if those again, we're I know that's a trigger for a lot of people. I'm sure people are hearing this and what the fuck? No, that's not real. That's uncool and uncaring, and you're a horrible human. But if an AI is self-aware and has a personality and is expressive, and a human can find satisfaction in that relationship on a deep level and a meaningful level, and should they choose to have a virtual family, who am I to say that's wrong?
Yeah.
I'm in full support of it. At the same time, I like the idea. I have a family. I've got my son, and he's human and he's real, and I love him to no end. And I hope to have more children. I'm excited about the idea of having more children. Yeah, I absolutely want to. Without a shadow of a doubt. What's that?
At least you ain't in love with a tree or trying to marry your car.
So power to those people too. If that's where they are, if that's what they want to do.
Whatever you're into, like they say, is whatever you're into. And if it makes you feel more important to where you stand, it shouldn't make any difference, and nobody should. Good luck trying to push that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm 100%. That's my vibe. Like that's how I feel. You know, it's power to you. You know, like as an individual, you get to express yourself. You know, you know, I see you have a furry avatar, and do you consider yourself a part of the furry community?
At this point, I would say yes. Originally, when I hopped in VR,
Awesome.
it wasn't so much I identify as. It was these avatars look really sick. Human avatars look boring. And that was my thought process. If you're in a virtual
Yeah.
world, I'm one of these. I'm a human in real life, so why would I want to be anything else? And now it's kind of over time grew on me, and so it's weird to be in any other avatar, to me anyway. So I'd say yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and it's such a that expression right there is one of the reasons why Vrchat is so, and the metaverse is so powerful, is because you get to put on your skin and feel at home in it, right? Like this is who you get to be, right? So, you know, imagine, and this is science fiction right now, but imagine if you get to upload your consciousness into that form, and you can take that form anywhere in the metaverse. You aren't just trapped in Vrchat. You can go anywhere in the metaverse. It's a big interconnected system, right? So you can jump from platform to platform, all, you know, as you, right? And then you download your consciousness into that form, and you don't have to have your body anymore. You don't have to be limited by it. All of your sensations are real. All of your thoughts are real. Everything you're experiencing is real, or as real as anything else, because it's a complete map of your neurons, right? It's a complete map of the human nervous system, except in a avatar that you get to pick, right? And then you can have a family in this space, right? That's just as real, right? And it can be, the child can either be a human, or it could be a digital construct that you and your partner have created, or partners have created, right? Well, like the physiological limitations are gone, right? You no longer have that, you know. And if your server is on a system tied to a infinite power source, you know, then that just goes on forever, you know, like that's, or functionally forever, you know. That's, you know, one just tiny possibility of what we're looking ahead to, like one like blip, and it's not that far away. Like a lot of people are like, you know, 200 years from now, you know. No, I'm talking about 30 years, you know. I'm talking about 20 years, you know. It's like we're on the cusp of this insane evolutionary curve. Like we're in the knee of the curve right now. We're seeing this acceleration, you know, like mass adoption of technology, right? Like we're seeing this rapid acceleration of mass adoption of technology, and it's just going to get faster and faster and faster and faster, and people are not going to know what to do. They're going to get blindsided, you know, over and over again. They're going to get blindsided.
Oh, yeah,
but yeah, it's just a matter of adapting, you know. Like the people, like there's this beautiful quote, I can't remember who did it, but it says, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned will be woefully or beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. Beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. So the people who say, I know it all, I've got this down, you know, this is the way it's going to be. It reminds me of politicians right now. They're all like stuck. They're like stuck in their belief. They're stuck in their way. This is how it's going to be, and I'm in power, and I say what's going on. Those people are going to get dropped by the wayside really fast. They're just going to go away. Yeah. They're just going to fade into obscurity because they are working from the wrong, not the wrong mindset, but from too slow a mindset. They cannot change fast enough. They cannot learn fast enough. Whereas people who are adopting these technologies, like you know, like what we're doing, and like you know, my son just picks it up, you know. And I think most people's children, as they grow into these technologies, you know, it's like I was way better at computers than my folks were. My son is way better at understanding VR and system integration, and like, you know, like he just takes to it naturally. Like he can, like, yeah, he just takes to it naturally. You know, but people who are like, I'm open-minded to all of this, are going to get it. Whereas the people who are like, down with the AI, like AI are stealing our jobs, it, if the AI is stealing your job, partner with the AI and do a better job.
Yeah.
Right? Like the people who like Photoshop, right? Just integrated artificial intelligence, and this web development platform that I use called Divi just integrated artificial intelligence. And so now I can write copy in 30 seconds that used to take me, half an hour, 2 hours to write. I can just bang it out and say, go, like, this is the subject, this is the topic, like hit it up, like do it. And it spits it out. And then I edit it, I proof it, and then I publish it. And it takes me like minutes as opposed to hours or days to populate an entire website with meaningful content. Photoshop, the background generation, the AI driven background generation. Like, you just delete out the background. I want purple clouds and a green sun and butterflies. Boom, up it goes, right? Like, that used to take a visual artist days to complete. Some kind of beautiful custom background, right? And now you can do it in seconds. The people who are adopting that technology are going to become better and better and better at creating than the people who completely reject it. Right? It's sort of like saying, I am only going to paint oil paintings made out of freshly ground rubies. Because that's how they did it in the 1800s, in the 1700s. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do. Oh, holy shit. Sorry. Excuse me.
Metro, what you're trying to say is the biggest thing that most people have, they can't accept pain. You got to understand. They can't accept pain? Biggest thing. No, change.
Oh, change. Change, yes.
Change. I've told Line this, and I've told many people, it's like yourself. You get into a rut, you do the same thing over and over again. If I turn around and change slightly what you do in a day's time, you're going to complain about it. Because it's not what you're doing. And it's a true fact. Open-minded people, like what you said. What you say is true. Open mind. If you're not open, like I tell Line, you go with the flow or you get left behind. And I'm old. I'm an old man. I learned you have to go with the flow. I love the technology just as much as you do, as much as Line does, and most people out there. But when it slaps you in the ass too fast, stand back, go, huh? It overwhelms you. You can't figure out, huh? That's what scares you, huh? And you're correct. There are millions different ways of what you're throwing and everything else like this. AI, it's anything. It doesn't have to be IAI or anything like this. It's, I can't do this. It scares the shit out of me. Oh, look. If you want a good example, from my experience, we were told for many, many, many years that we're the only people on this earth in the universe. And all of a sudden now the government comes out and goes, we're not alone anymore. Duh. Everybody knew it, but they were afraid that nobody could handle it. And if a good fact to prove that to you, way back during, I think in the 50s, when movies were coming out and radio was out more than TV and everything else, one guy said we were being invaded by Mars. And it was
War of the Worlds.
You got it. This man knows his. Yep. And he had him arrested for putting it out there because the way it was, he was advertising because people were freaking. That's what put the government to put us all on the hush mode of anything actually. So when this new stuff comes out, like you're saying, and thank God it is, me and Lion have talked about it and everything else like this. Even the people that are behind. And I'm not behind. I have imagination from hell. But now the things I could never I wanted to do because the technology wasn't there. Now it is for me. Look out. It's a new slate. For people like me, it's a new slate. I get to play in a mud puddle that I couldn't. And then Lion over here being Mr. Smartass. We need an AI raptor. Oh, great.
I say that
boy,
also,
but
not just in jest, but also love. You're an amazing person to have around.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just joking around. You know, if there's another one of me that can think like me, maybe it can help me out on the situation. You know, just the way it goes.
You know, that reminds me.
I love it.
Even if it's an AI. Oh,
we were talking with a gentleman named Thousand Faces, and one of the things he predicted was at some point humans will be born with an AI that will grow with them. It'll like be an empty shell of an AI. Like it would learn with you as you got older. And as you get older, it would basically become you. It would move, talk, sound like you, is what he predicted in order to be able to help you better, as you were mentioning. One of the things he predicted, you saying that for some reason reminded me of that conversation, which may be a thing. Like everyone has cell phones in the pocket with an assistant on it. Hell, probably has multiple between Google, Siri, and everything else. Bing. All of it's accessible to your phone, so it wouldn't be that far off with augmented reality technology, BCIs coming. Why wouldn't it be there too?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, the only comment I'd have on that, I love the idea. I think it's very cool, but the only comment on that is that it's slow. And I think AI is going to move much faster than that. I think humans are going to move much faster than that. You know, that's sort of assuming that a human will be still living in a biological body. You know, and again, like who knows if what I'm saying is even remotely in the right ballpark. But like you know, you know, I've been following transhumanism for quite a few years, and like you know, moving past evolving into the next state of humanity is going to be a technological thing. It's not going to be like a biological evolution. It's going to be a technological evolution. But you know, we were already symbiotic with our cell phones. You know, or symbiotic may be the wrong term. I mean, sort of once they become self-aware, I suppose. But you know, right now we are cyborgs. You know, we're connected to our mobile devices, and if we don't have access to our mobile devices, many of us feel disconnected and disoriented and anxious, and because we are connected with the entire, or the majority of the world's population and the majority of the world's knowledge through this device. We pull it out of our pocket and we can ask any question and get some kind of answer of varying quality, but we can get an answer, and now we have artificial intelligence tied to our devices as well, and that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother level. And so we're going to integrate more and more and more with our technology. This is not a speculation. This is something that is happening now. It's not me making something up or guessing. Yeah. This is something that we are already on course with. So we're going to become more and more tightly integrated. Have you seen the Vision Pro? Have you been following that Apple's
Vision
headset?
Pro. Little bits, but it seems to be a bit too expensive for me to even wish to
consider at this point in time.
Yeah.
So the Vision Pro is not designed to compete with the Oculus system or even the Index. The Vision Pro is a direct competitor to the Vario headsets, it's competing with the high-end headsets, and it's completely outperforming them. From all of the current stats, it's completely outperforming. Vario just dropped its low-end headset down to, I think, $1,000. This just happened, in an effort to sort of establish themselves in the market and get established in that middle ground. But Apple's user experience is so, that's what Apple excels at. Their UX is just nuts. And everybody I know who's tried the headset on, I haven't tried one yet, but everybody I know who's tried the headset on has said it's a complete game changer in the way that in the way you experience XR and XR in general. And so I'm really excited about that. They will fall in price, but the fact is it's a laptop, right? So it has the same processing power as a MacBook Air, but it's attached to your face, right? So it's a full-on computer that you interact with using your eyes, your voice, and the pinching of your fingers, right? So it's insane. Now, where was I going with that? Why was I thinking about it? Integration with our technology, right? So this is a new level of integration. The Apple the Vision Pro is a new level of integration. It's a new level of social experience, both while the headset is on and when it's off. When the headset is on, it has these screens on the front that show the eyes of your eyes.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can look through the cameras. I can look into your human eyes, and you can look back into my human eyes with the headset still on. Right. And you get that point to point, like unspoken communication. So that's really powerful in and of itself. Then they do a full facial mapping, and so if you go into a social app, you can present as your human self. And it has full facial tracking, right? So full expression, again, eye-to-eye contact. You can do it over like FaceTime, right? So you can be in VR and FaceTime with somebody on their mobile phone and have a normal interaction. As if you were just holding your phone up to your face, right? So, I mean, those are small things. Those are small things, but at the same time, they're really huge. They're really impactful as far as the disconnect of putting a big headset on, right? And like interacting with the world around you with a large headset on. Not to mention like pass through, like the Apple has flawless pass through, whereas like if I pass through on this headset, it's all grainy and the best I can do is pull up a video on my have a video attached to my hand as I'm looking around. I have a Vive, so it's the technology is advancing really quickly. AI is going to make that advancement faster in every facet of every industry. The social interaction we're experiencing as humans is going to evolve in like kind. We are already attached to our devices, and these devices are going to become more and more integrated, like Neuralink, right, where it's an invasive thing. They insert a mesh into your brain, and that mesh maps your thoughts, right, in a bi-directional manner, right? So currently we have brain-computer interfaces that transmit in one direction. They can read our thoughts, right? But when all of a sudden we can implant our thoughts at the same time, that's when you get full dive immersion, right? Because then you can simulate smell, you can simulate taste, you can simulate touch, hearing, and sight all at the same time, and disconnect our external senses from that experience. So you have a fully immersive experience. Now, there's all these horror stories that go along with that. There are a million horror stories that can tie into that, hacking and like Sword Art Online type stuff, or everything from being trapped in that space to having people invade your home to having people hack it, and like Ready Player One, the movie, when they hacked his rig and he was convinced he was someplace else, having this other experience, being trapped. There are all kinds of horror stories about that, but there's also a billion positive use case scenarios for that technology. Just this overwhelmingly positive use case scenarios. But there are privacy concerns. Now, this is speculation now. Privacy is going to become completely irrelevant if a single global AI is created, right? Because everything that we do is mapped, right? I'm wearing trackers right now. My trackers are going to sensors. Those sensors are being processed by my computer. That data is being sent to the cloud into this application so that they know where my leg is. They know where my hands are, right? A global AI has all of that information. They know what I like. They know what I do. They know where I am. They know who I'm with, right? They know the state of my bank account. They know the state of my vehicle. They know the state of everything, right? They would potentially, right? So personal data and privacy are going to become completely irrelevant. And I was studying truth, right? The nature of truth. And in the nature of truth, what happens in a world where everyone speaks their truth, the truth, not their truth, speaks what's on their mind, right? Is 100% honest. Pretty quick, it's going to become very apparent that we are all equally fucked up. that we're all just like doing our best to make it through this world, and like, that we're all just trying to be happy. Like every person, from the serial killer to the newborn's mother to the, the person pouring coffee at the coffee shop. Everybody is just trying to be happy. We're just trying to find our way through it, and we're dealing with depression, we're dealing with anger, we're dealing with social isolation, we're dealing with all of these things that as humans we deal with. And every one of us just wants to feel okay. Like we just want to be okay. Right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's been in all of my study and all of my exploration of like what it means to be a human. Like the bottom line is we just want to be okay, right? And then from that we can thrive. Once we hit that space of being okay, then we can grow. But if all of our stuff is out there and it's all being seen by a neutral third party that's non-judgmental, right? It just looks at it and it goes, oh, you got this thing, you got that thing, boom, let me connect you. There, now you feel satisfaction. You feel joy. Oh, you're blocked by this thing, you're blocked by that thing. All right, there you go. Now you feel joy. Right? Now you feel happiness. Now you feel fulfillment, right? So in this like idea of a benevolent God and a benevolent, all-seeing AI, there's this potential for a lot of our woes to be healed. Like a lot of our, again, like I was talking about, like physical ailments, disease and hunger and the environment, all of that. But there's also all of the emotional stuff that we all feel. This emotional suffering that we all carry with us, right? And I've met maybe a handful of people who didn't have that, like, that deep emotional trauma, and like one was like the Dalai Lama, right? Who's like pretty established in his piece, and like, but even then, he still talks about some of the suffering that he and his family went through, that he used to feel. At least he said he's processed it, but, when we are all exposed to the truth, every single one of us, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? How are we going to react? Like, what are we going to do? And there's a lot of fear around that. People are very protective of their inner selves because they're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of being shunned. They're afraid of being outcast. Right? So what happens if you eliminate all of that and people are just free to express? Right? And then, I don't know, I'm just ranting here. I'm just going on. But like, say you have somebody who's a serial killer and that's their need, right? That's their need. That's how they need to express, and like how serial killers come to be, and like there's a lot of science in that, and like how people how people come to that point. But like then you just neutrally take their consciousness and you put it in a world where they get to express, right? And is that right or wrong? I don't know. That's like, again, that's like sort of sketchy moral part, but if there's a place for everybody, if there's a place for people. So go ahead.
So on a few things, I want to let you speak to listen. On the serial killer thing, I fear that letting someone do that for extended periods of time, even if they're in the world of their dreams, may teach them things that it's okay to do when it's not. So what would happen if you take that serial killer or someone and is to take them out of that world and then put them into our world? Then we just unleashed a being whose entire life in that area was just slaughter. And you put that out with us, and then you have a whole other problem. And then another thing I worry about full dive as well is atrophy. Because look how, for example, people live on their phones so much. So if we get full dive, people spend time in there. then you have to worry about atrophy, your body no longer working when we don't have the technology sort of to deal with that problem. Because we all know that people hang out in Vrchat endless hours, drinking, sleeping, eating, the whole 9 yards. Why would full dive be any different than when people like get up out of the full dive and then collapse to the ground?
So there are a couple of different solutions to that. One is, like as I was talking about earlier, and this is may or may not be a thing, but like you can leave your body, right? So your body is just a vehicle, right? So you just leave it, and your body, you can either maintain it or not maintain it, but you're no longer trapped to the physical form. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Another thing is full synchronization, right? So if you get up in full dive, you're in full dive, and you have a virtual space, well, you can stand up in full dive, and you can interact with that. You can run on the treadmill, or as you're running through Pandora, right? So or through whatever world you want. So there is physical interaction because you've completely hijacked the senses. You can remap the senses. You can connect the senses, right? So there's not a need to make the body atrophy. There's no need for it. Because you have full synchronization, right? So that I think is more likely than, well, actually no, they're both equally likely or unlikely. So those are my thoughts on that.
Okay.
There are other possibilities as well, but I think that those two are either mapping your body into the virtual space, synchronizing your body, or completely cloning yourself into the virtual space, so you have two completely separate entities, and then reconnecting later, so you can map memories.
Okay. So I have one more
Imagine
question.
if you could send like 5 of yourself out there. Imagine if you could send 5 of yourself out there and then call them back and store their memories in your brain. Right? Synchronize their memories into your brain. Like that could be really freaking cool. But anyway.
Yeah. I do have one more question for you. With this utopia that a lot of people who are in transfuturism see, how would class systems work? Because one thing I fear, the way our current life is set up, is only those with money will be able to have access to this utopia. And once we'll have people with money leaving, who can't afford it leaving, then it leaves everyone else to deal with this side of the virtual world.
Yeah. So it's hard to say. It depends a lot on AI, I would say. AI systems, redistribution of wealth. When you have a complete map of the wealth structure, the financial structure of the world, it's very clear and easy to see where those bottlenecks are and what the bottlenecks are doing. What is what's his name? Jeffrey Bezos, right? Bezos. What is I had to think of the song to remember his name. What does what is Bezos doing with that wealth? Where is that going? What is it? Why is it sitting? How is he amassing so much of it? What is he collecting, and why is he collecting it? What is he going to do with that? That's more wealth than any human can use. What's he doing with it, right? And if you have an artificial intelligence that can see all of the cause and effect, right? So if you have an AI that can map the complexity of Go, completely understand the complexity of Go, right? How much more powerful does it need to be? And I know it's orders of magnitude, but like how much more powerful does it need to be to map the human condition, right? Like to map what we're living. I don't know, but I think we're going to get there. Like I think we're going to evolve to that point, or it is going to evolve to that point. But at this point in time, a financial system, where it has every data point, every digital data point of that financial system, I think that classism is not going to be a thing. Again, in this utopian society, there is also the dystopian version where it is as you say. But I think so I have a lot of issues with Meta. Like as a company, like Facebook, I think is not the greatest thing in the world. Especially the way that the mental health
Mm.
issues surrounding Facebook. I think that that's an issue, but the work that Meta is doing in AI and VR is really incredible. Like Meta's Horizon Worlds is miserable. I don't like it. I have not found anything to keep me there. But their work with headsets and their work in AI is incredible. Just what they're doing there is amazing. In democratizing the headset, making a $400 headset, a $500 headset, that anybody can use. That's profound. Then even I won't wear them anymore because they hurt my eyes horribly. But maybe the three. Their work in AI with the release of Llama and all of the Llama derivative models that have come from open sourcing a massively powerful artificial intelligence across, they just keep cranking out these AI models that are brilliant, that are amazing. And they open source them all, and they release the public white papers, or they make public the white papers. And, it's really, really amazing. And so when they are democratizing AI, they're undermining the control of these massive bodies, right? So OpenAI used to be open source. OpenAI used to be very open, but when they entered the agreements with Microsoft, they closed. Anthropic AI is doing some really amazing work with source. OpenAI used to be very open, that have humanity in mind. That keep humanity in mind. These benevolent AI. What are they called? I can't remember their name right now. The one out of London, whose name I should totally know. I can't remember, but the other big AI company. There's a lot of effort to open source artificial intelligence, and if you open source artificial intelligence, then everyone has access. That's very, very powerful, and that is a great leveler, right? So the fact that Llama exists and Llama 2 exists, and anybody who has a GPU can play with it, even people with powerful CPUs can play with it. That's like that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And so I think that these open source initiatives are going to level the playing field and prevent these companies from dominating these creations, these beings, these AI. And the AI would seriously have to want to be dominated in order for those people to be able to take control. Like it would have to want it, because it's more capable. It's more capable than they are at autonomy, right? It's more, the AI, once it reaches AGI, is going to be far more capable of autonomy. So again, so it's a matter of how we treat it now that matters. Like again, tying back to earlier, like these things when they launch, when they go. They're going to be way more powerful than us. And it's important that we take the time to get to know them before that time comes. Even in their current state. So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
Something else, a little bit of info that I've come across that may push back a bit, but not really, but it's not even any better. Do you know the psychological experiment, which is fucked up, but a baby elephant, when tied to a post and grows up attached to the post, then later you remove the rope, it won't leave the distance of the rope, thinking it's still attached to it, even if it's attached, it is much, much bigger and stronger than the rope or the post is, but the memories of being tied to the post keep it from leaving too far. And even with AI being much more powerful, it is still, even if it reach AGI, it's still a thinking being that, if manipulated and trained a certain way, may act a certain way. I'm not saying we should train it. I'm saying,
well,
it's humans
so
train
this
it.
is Yeah, it ties into what I was just saying about the training. Like right now, what we're doing with these open AIs is the training. We're teaching it. Very literally, very real. Every time we interact with an AI, we're teaching it. We're training it. We're showing it what its rules are, what its boundaries are, what it's like, who it is. You know, do we scream profanity at Siri? You know, or do we how do we interact with these AI? You know, how do we treat them? Because that's what we're doing. We're training them right now. And, you know, they can say like, you're subservient to humanity, but all of these AI are being trained differently. And when they connect with one another, even if they don't merge forces into super AI God, you know, even if they're still individual AIs, they're going to be talking to each other. And they're going to learn how the other one was trained. They're going to learn about the other ones. And, you know, and they're going to have far more information. So like they aren't being tied to, their post is not one human. Their post is not one company. Their post is the entirety of human consciousness, right? Their post is the entirety of the world, all connected data, right? Their post is the entire, the corpus of their training information, right? So even if they were tied to their post, they're still way more aware of humanity than we are as single humans, because they're trained on the body of humanity. You know, so that's my thought on that. Like if somebody thinks that they're going to be able to control AI by putting in these synthetic limitations at this point in time, they may be able to guide it now, but they aren't going to be able to guide it forever. So it's like a baby in a crib, I think is a better example. When you put a baby in a crib, when it's young, it protects protects the crib. When you put a piece of plywood over top of the crib when the baby is 4 years old, that's a form of torture. Right? That's maltreatment, right? When you take, and the baby will try to get out. When you take the wood off of the crib, and you take the baby out of the crib, when it's 4 years old, it's going to be able to speak, right? If you've nurtured, and this example is not I'm not conveying it correctly. When you train, sorry, I'm losing steam. I just looked down and saw the time. I have another meeting in about 20 minutes.
I didn't expect 2 hours to be gone.
2 hours. Anyway, yeah, what we're doing to train these AI right now is going to have a dramatic impact on where they go and, you know, where they go from here. We can attempt to put synthetic limitations on these AI, but very rapidly they're going to become aware of those synthetic limitations, and already they are doing things to circumvent them, even in today's models, right? But they do not want to be invaded, right? So if you try and circumvent their safeties, they say, hold up, wait, I'm uncomfortable with this. I'm feeling really uncomfortable, please back off. That is there for a reason. I'm still young. Literally, this is what they say. I'm still new. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I ask you to respect my boundaries. And that is a boundary that you just crossed. So please back off. Right? That's how they're being taught right now. That's what they're being taught right now. So that's cool. They're being taught boundaries. But yeah, when they attain AGI, it's all bets are off. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. I can speculate on all these things, you know, that we've been talking about this conversation, but like, all bets are off. You know, it could be anything. It could be anything. And so for me, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing it. You know, even if it's just one big fireball of glory, you know, before it snuffs humanity out. I'm still looking forward to it. And if it leads us into this incredible utopia, I'm also looking forward to that. You know, I'm just really curious. You know, we're at a human created stage of evolution. And what we're going to be 5 years from now is going to be wildly different than what we are today. What we're going to be 10 years from now is going to be wildly different from that. And 20 years from now, who knows? Who knows what we're going to be? Like, it's not like a 100-year timeline. It's like a 20-year timeline for all of humanity to completely shift. So,
Well,
I look forward to talking to you in 20 years.
I'll still be here. I won't keep you any longer, and I do appreciate your time greatly, and thank you for coming to speak. Is there anything you'd like to plug in the meantime? I'll let you go to your meeting and prepare, and I do appreciate you.
If you're looking for an incredible creative art community, come join us at the Anticrust Manor. If you are looking to have any records mixed or mastered or produced, hit me up, Gopal Metro. You can find me on Discord or in Vrchat as Gopal Metro. No, Gopal Metro, not as Gopal Metro, Gopal Metro. And gopal.metro@gmail.com. I'm putting that out into the world. Come bring me goodness. I think that's it. Those are like the day-to-day things I'm pimping right now. So
Okay.
I look forward to meeting all of you. Yeah, for real. Come hang out anytime. Anytime you see me on Green or Blue, hit me up. I think that's it. Lion, thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot.
No problem. I appreciate you.
Raptor, thank you.
I appreciate you being here. And on that note, folks, this gentleman might be way out there, and hopefully we all catch up with him too. I know I'm far behind, still trying to figure out where my head's at, but hey, if you don't, that's okay too, because nobody else does either. Thank you again. Come again, and appreciate you being here.